Good morning. So what do we have? We've got a 1 terabyte Samsung Seagate drive in for recovery. The customer actually dropped the drive, or it was knocked at some stage, and then sadly they tried to repower it whilst the heads were damaged. Now the damaged heads unfortunately scratched the surfaces as it was powering up, and as a result damaged the drive even more. Sadly, it's very common. Not everyone knows when a drive is dropped and not working, you should never power it back on. But people do because they want to get their stuff. So it was brought to us, we opened it in our clean chamber, and we noticed that the drive heads were actually stuck on the surface. And we also noticed little marks on the surfaces too. I guess the drive heads failed and the drive actually ground to a halt, and as it was doing that, scratched the surfaces. And then finally the drive heads gave up, and then the drive no longer worked, and the customer brought it to us. So we noticed a couple of things. Damaged heads are one thing. Usually we're able to remove the heads and put fresh heads in, provided there's no visible damage on the platters. But because we can see damage on the platters, we had to check all the platters to see whether there was any significant damage lower down. If there was, then fresh heads going in again would just die. And secondly, before putting fresh heads in, we noticed that the original heads under the microscope, the little sliders which actually read from the surfaces, they read and write. They're tiny. There's 4 on this assembly, 4 on this drive. Only 2 were left on the assembly, which meant 2 of the sliders were actually trapped somewhere in the drive, and we had to get them out, because if we don't, again, with fresh heads back in, the drive heads would just die. So we opened it up, we removed all the platters, we finally found the 2 sliders buried really deep inside the drive, and then after that we removed them and checked all the disk surfaces, we cleaned them all, reassembled, put a fresh headset in, and then we were able over 3 or 4 days to read about 99% of the sectors. Now those remaining only 90 megabytes of sectors affect 1,300 files, mainly because the drive itself contains mostly images, video, music. These are largely files which are more vulnerable to damage, so they're larger, so sector damage tends to affect them more. Affecting so many files, we think it's worth maybe just reopening the drive and attempting to see whether another clean will help us get more files or not. I mean, the chances are that we won't improve on the figure. We fear that the actual damaged head has scratched physically and destroyed that data, but it's worth a shot. So let's see what we can do about giving it another clean and then trying again to get that remaining 90 megabytes of sectors, which again they affect about 40 gigabytes of files. So it's really worth it if we can do more for this customer. So wish us luck. So that's the disk surface. You probably won't be able to see the scratches, but if I turn off the light and turn on my green light, you might be able to see some markings near about here. I don't know how good the camera is, but if you can pick up, there's a little tiny area where there's some scratches. But from this surface at the top, we've managed to recover pretty much everything we need. What we are needing to recover is actually lower down in the surface beneath this one. So let's take it apart. So chances are we're not going to be able to recover much more because the scratches look quite deep. But let's give it a shot now. That's the flashes both out. What I'm going to do now is going to park everything to one side and then get this drive, this platter cleaned up. And to do that, we've got a cleaning machine. I wouldn't say it's high tech, but it does the job. And this device has allowed us to make good results cleaning. No, I'm not going to bother cleaning the bottom because I already have the data from the bottom. We've got the drive wired back into our PC3000 portable now. We're going to attempt to see, after powering it back on, if we can get any more of the sectors that we're missing. Now on the screen here, we can see that the total amount of files is 417 gigabytes or thereabouts. And the green is good, but what we're looking to target is the stuff that we can't read from those damaged areas. Now, if I isolate only those sectors, it's going to recalculate and hopefully show us what we're facing. Let's target the ones that we're looking for. Now, we're just going to have to hit run and see what happens. So 90 megabytes is what we're hoping to improve. I've got a feeling that we probably won't get much better than this. As I say, the scratches were pretty deep, but it's worth a stab. This process here will take a few hours, and then we'll be back to finish the video off a bit later. So we're back after another clean and yet another set of heads. We managed to reduce those 90 megabytes of sectors down to 50 megabytes. Now we've actually gained only 40 more megabytes, but what it has done is allowed us to retrieve another 60 files perfectly. And overall the result, which is at the moment 97.3% perfect. The remaining files that are damaged, I've sampled them, and I'm pleased to say they largely play. Audio files might have the occasional skip, video files might have the occasional frame jump, but overall the result looks pretty good, at least of the ones I've sampled. So I'm really pleased with that, and I think the customer will be too. So that's it. If you have any questions about data recovery or have a problem, please get in touch. Our link's in the bio. See ya!